Hello, welcome and a very good evening to a probably, hopefully short video. And today we have two datasets, Commodore datasets, that is, for the Commodore 16, C116 and +4 range. They're a little bit different in that they are black instead of beige, and they have this mini DIN connector instead of this edge connector type thing that every dataset from the PAT onwards had. The PAT, the VIC-20 and the C64 share the same dataset, basically. And this is a device that I already have, which in theory should be working. Let's see. Okay, this is already fully rewound, and you can see and hear this sounds totally fine, works fine, everything is good. So, and you might even hear a bit of noise, perhaps. Because this thing here is even modded, it has a little speaker inside so that you can hear what the machine is actually loading, which is interesting and sometimes a bit annoying, but it's good feedback because, well, the dataset is not the most reliable thing in the world. Then we have this one here, which has overall pretty good shape. The clear plastic is not as scratched. There are scuff marks around the silver paint. Other than that, it looks pretty okay. The cord has a plastic softener that can leave melty dents like this here. It makes the plastic of the case soft, and over the years it will like make impressions on the plastic. So always make sure that you store the cord a little bit tucked away from the device itself. However, this thing here is not yet serviced, so usually at least the what do you call it, the belts will be damaged. They will have dissolved basically, and this sounds absolutely horrid, and it starts even without me doing anything here. Yeah, as soon as I turn on the machine. So there might be more faults. So I'm gonna unplug this and we will open this up and have a look if this thing is salvageable, hopefully. And if not, we can maybe transplant the mechanism from the other into this, because this has a nicer case, I think. So this thing opened up easy enough. Has the weird little spring that is in all of these machines for the lid, because the lid will stay open. There's a very crude mechanism. Yeah, might need some new lubrication, but I think it's still okay. Be a bit careful because the plastic is relatively brittle. Then there's the mechanism itself, which is only held in place with the screws that also keep the shell together. And so far, this rubber looks okay, I think. This is the one gear, this is the other gear. The question is, why is it making such noise? Okay, this is not looking super great. Dust bunnies everywhere. It is relatively clean. It's a bit yellowed. You see the original gray here. I might want to clean this up, put some lubrication on most parts. Yeah, but other than that, it looks relatively okay. The question is, why does it spring to life immediately? Is there anything wrong on this board here? And we do need a replacement belt for this, I think. This is not dissolved yet, but it's not very springy either. I can try to put it in boiling water. That's supposed to be a good idea. I need to remove this screw here because there's no way to let this out. I mean, I can just pull it off of here and off of this side, but then we get stuck on this side. Yeah. Maybe I'll boil this very quickly in some water, and probably should also clean this up. There's like dead insects in here. That's nasty. Everything else, well, it's a cheap mechanism, but it should be working. It also says here 1531, which is the model number, I think. Not sure if it's the model number of this particular thing or of the dataset in general. But we can have a look and see. There are, I think, 2 ICs on here, which might, of course, be broken. And I can't turn this over, I think, because there is something stuck. Ah, there's one more screw that I didn't see. So yeah. There's still more things attached that I can't get to. Yeah, let me have a very careful look if I can remove this PCB without destroying too much. I think I might need to loosen this wire strap or whatever you call it. So I managed to wiggle this off by loosening this screw slightly. Be careful, there's a spring here. Can you see that? Roughly, very roughly. And then you can wiggle this back and forth to get the rubber belt down this side, and then there's an opening at the bottom here. So that's how we can get it in and out. So yeah, I'm gonna look in my boxes for another belt, and I'll also try and boil this in some water to get it a little bit more springiness. So I replaced both the counter belt for the digit counter. I don't know what you call it. I think this board is fine because I now swapped the C16 for my other one. There might be something wrong with the other C16. That's the one that I am currently repairing. But here the motor only starts shortly and then stops, so that is fine. So I reinstalled the PCB. I need to put the cable tie back in place. Maybe I'll use a regular cable tie. I have to check if I have very thin ones. I replaced this rubber belt here because this one is too loose even after cooking it for a couple of minutes or pouring hot water over it. But I must say this has a much nicer, higher quality. It has a greater thickness than this cheap replacement one. So I'm not sure if this will hold 40 years or something, because I think this is probably 40 years old by now. So Commodore did use good quality belts for once, which is a nice thing. The device is plugged in currently, so let's quickly turn it on and have a listen if this is still making weird noises. No, it doesn't. That's good. That's good. So there was something rubbing probably. Yeah, this sounds excellent. I think this might be fixed. So the counter turns, but not in this direction. Ah, now it does. Okay, good. So I need to depress the button correctly. Okay, this is looking pretty good, I must say. Ah, now we're getting a noise. Okay, so the problem is that the flywheel has a little bit of leeway. Let me try to show this. The flywheel can move up and down a little bit on its axle. And when we are in this position, everything is nice and smooth. But if we put it like this, it drops down and makes the grinding noise. That's pretty nasty. So the flywheel is attached to the capstan, obviously. And on the capstan there is a little plastic, what do you call this? Plastic disc? Ah, now we're talking. Yeah, that's better. So the problem was that the plastic disc moved up a little bit. Let's hope this doesn't break. It's everything that holds this whole thing together. That's a little bit of a weak point, I must say. I will clean this very carefully with a brush and put some grease on the gears, I think. I think this here might be... That's fine. Okay, so I won't put any grease on here because I think this is like friction. But I will try to put a little bit grease here on the moving metal parts. And I will clean the capstan and the play and erase head with a cotton swab and some alcohol. And the pinch roller looks okay. Not great, but okay. And I think we'll have ourselves a spanking brand new dataset, I would say. The noise is gone. It's now working again. Let me turn on the computer. The thing is, there is a little metal lever here which pushes the cassette slightly into the direction of the tape head and everything and the mechanism. And that was pushing too hard forward, so when I pushed down, it wouldn't close. It would hit the capstan and push the capstan down with the flywheel. That's of course not a good thing, so I bent it a little back and now everything works as it should. I think this is just fine. And I will close the mechanism once more and hope that it will work now. And we can try to load a game. All right. Try number 2. I think try number 1 I didn't even record, so sorry for the confusion if there is any. Let's try this again. Slides in perfectly. We hit load on the machine. It says press play on tape, which is what we'll do. And it starts loading without terrible noises or anything. And in a second or two it should stop for like 5 seconds and display the name of the file that it found on the tape. It says Tutti Frutti, and after 5 seconds the motor should start going again. And the auto stop is not very correct, I think, because I think there is no real auto stop. Yeah, but let's wait. This will take like 2 or 3 minutes or something to load. So fast forward. There we go. It took 5 minutes. Yes, it stops, but of course it doesn't engage the stop button. There's no auto disengage. But we can type run and check out if the game has been loaded correctly. And it has, it works. Awesome. So this is a working 1531 and oh god, I died already. I think it can go into my collection as is. And well, the datasets are not the fastest nor the best things. It is nice to have one back in working order. We have to be a bit careful because, as you've seen, the flywheel breaks off quite easily, or doesn't break, it shifts inside the case, so that's a bit annoying. Yeah, I definitely have to stop playing this game now because I can't concentrate doing and talking two things at the same time. Yeah, thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe as usual. Leave a comment. I guess many of you had a tape deck for your computer back in the day. Please leave a comment telling your story about tapes, computer tapes, and such. I do like this one particularly because of the color scheme. It fits perfectly to the C16 and the C116. And for most people it was the cheaper alternative to the rather expensive disk stations that Commodore produced. But of course also much, much slower. But audio cassette were very widespread. Almost everyone had one, had tape player and some cassettes, so people could record and copy games. Yeah, so that's it for today. Thanks very much and see you in the next one.